Mama.
Mama.
Oh. There you go, Claire. She's requested a close-up of the graham
He is
cracker.
just the cutest. I've been following his pictures on Facebook.
Oh.
I'm ready for him to model for me.
Yes. He's got to learn how to roll over.
Gotta walk first. Yeah.
And talk. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready to get started, Brianna? Okay.
Yep.
Brianna's in charge. She's the one that's really in charge here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm Brooke Hudson, and I am the producer of Omaha Fashion Week. And I have Graham here with me. He's my new baby. He's about 6 months old. So he'll be, I'm sure, interjecting throughout the night. So bear with us. But I'm really excited about this conversation because I get to talk to all my friends. Everybody that I'm introducing tonight is a dear friend. And so this is really fun to get together and have this conversation and to be able to open it up to questions from you all about anything and everything. We'll talk about career paths in fashion, but we're going to actually be spending quite a bit of time tonight talking about bullying and personal experiences we've had with bullying and how we've overcome that. It's become kind of an important thing for our fashion community. So, but with that, I want to introduce all my friends. This is the student night discussion panel here. So I'm going to start at the top with Heather Hooton. Heather is our Omaha Fashion Week runway photographer. She is the region's top fashion photographer. She's just working for lots of big brands and just doing amazing work, and is an amazing creative person as well, somebody we really enjoy collaborating with. And she's been with us, I don't even know how many years it's been. All these people have been around for a long time, and we're just thankful for just their presence through all the crazy things we go through. So Heather, what do you have to touch yourself?
What do I add? Okay, so I just asked Brianna, when you guys moved from Omaha Fashion Week being in the tents to when you purchased your building, that was my first, the last season in the tents was my first season with Fashion Week. So it's been since 2016. So yeah, it's been
6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like Brooke said, I've been doing photos and videos for Omaha Fashion Week for 6 years. Anything from the runway to the editorial, commercials, we get to shoot it all, and it's super amazing and fun. I've been doing photography since 2010 with my husband, Jameson, who's not here, but he's really quiet. He wouldn't talk anyway. I really love the Omaha community, but I love the Omaha fashion community more. It's so supportive, and it's full of the most creative, talented people. And I think building this community as much as we can it's become one of my life missions. I love it here, and I love being part of this group of people. So thanks.
And Heather is on the Fashion Arts Collective board, right? And you're the leader of the guild.
I lead the Fashion Guild, which helps raise awareness and funds for the Fashion Arts Collective, which is where I am this evening. And we will be hosting the runway show that caps off this week's events. So if anybody wants to watch an amazing runway show, it is streaming live for free at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So we can drop a link or something, but we're going to be featuring 9 designers, models from Develop Model Management. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yay. Cool. And that's a membership drive. So you can get a membership to the Fashion Arts Collective as well. So great. Thanks, Heather. Okay. Next up is Keith. Keith is our music director for Omaha Fashion Week and a DJ who has toured all over the world and an all around amazing human. Keith, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, you got it right on the nose. Yeah, Keith go by alias Kethro under musical projects. Um, Full-time audio engineer, sound designer, and I also work very heavily production here at my job here at Make Believe Studios in Omaha. We've been in business since 2010, but we actually started this building or created this building and opened in 2016. So the same year that the Hudsons started the new OFW space. Along with that, I've worked in tons of projects internationally, down to the local level, whether it's definitely music or TV or video game, every realm. I've definitely have found myself working in. So I could go down the accolades, but I'm so busy. I just my brain is kind of scrambled at the moment. I'm just ending a very long streak of working on quite a few records, so I stay pretty busy in that realm.
Wow.
And
Thank you. Go ahead.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I love being a part of the Fashion Week team. I, Fashion is a big thing in my world. I'm not like I can't afford all the brands that I want to wear, but I take what I wear very seriously, and I try to stay inspired by the fashion world. And the OFW team have done a really great job on keeping me sharp and definitely aware on that form of expression. It's definitely one of my favorite mediums, and it's good to be here for my, I think, 7th year, maybe 8th. I'm not sure. I'm losing count too. So yeah, it's good to be here, y'all.
Well, thanks. I'm so glad you're here, even with all the things that you're working on. It sounds super busy, which is great. I always look forward to Keith being on this discussion because he's always dropping these amazing pearls of wisdom. So pay attention to what that man has to say. He's a wise man. All right. Next up, we have Maddi Hebner. And Maddi actually started working for Omaha Fashion Week. I think you were like, what, 14, 15?
I think that's when I started
Maybe.
volunteering. Yeah.
14. Yeah. So she started as a volunteer, and then she became an intern and a paid intern, and then a member of the staff. And now she's graduated from college at Columbia in Chicago, and has her own business doing graphic design and brand development. And anyway, I won't say too much, but I will say she is absolutely brilliant and was wise beyond her years when she worked for us. And so I'm very excited to hear what she has to say. She's truly a brilliant talent and a hard worker.
Well, thank you. So like Brooke was saying, I do run my own business now. I run a branding and web design company. We cater towards service providers, so people like photographers, copywriters, things like that. And as she was saying, I used to work for OFW as the backstage coordinator and many roles before that. And that was, I think, from 2012 might have been when I started, and then until maybe 2017, probably. I think that's about the time frame. And now I just get to cheer you guys on from here in Chicago. So
yeah, Maddi was with us back in the fabled days of the tent.
Yep.
Which we're all still a little traumatized by. It's fine. Okay, and next up we have Rose Petty, and Rose Petty is a makeup artist. And she is actually leading you're leading the makeup artistry backstage on the Beauty Alliance. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Lead makeup artist.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes. And also a great mentor, always a positive attitude, and just somebody that keeps things really calm and wonderful backstage. So Rose, tell us about yourself.
Yes, thank you. I have been a makeup artist and in the beauty industry for 11 years. I've been a part of Omaha Fashion Week for, I believe it's 8 seasons now. I've always had a huge passion for both fashion, makeup, and just plain art. So Omaha Fashion Week is like perfect. Like, I can't tell you how perfect. I get obsessed and highly energetic when I talk about Omaha Fashion Week. But yeah, so I love working both on Omaha Fashion Week and in the makeup industry. And I also love to share my journey and my life lessons and everything that I've learned. And I like to express myself through my makeup artistry.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you for being here, Rose.
Thank you.
Next up, next we have Borris Powell. Borris, man, I don't remember. It's been a long time that we've known each other, and we were actually introduced by Alyssa Dilts. So,
yeah.
And Borris is a fashion designer out of Chicago. If you've ever been to Omaha Fashion Week, you probably have seen his collections. He's unforgettable.
So, hi, Brooke. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So tell us about yourself, Borris.
All righty. Well, hello, everyone. I am Borris Powell, Chicago-based fashion designer, men's and women's, and I have been, a full-time artist now. December the 14th will be 11 years, and I have been coming to Omaha for about 10 years, I think it is now. And it's one of, if not my favorite moments to showcase. I love everything that Omaha Fashion Week, Brooke, Nick, Alyssa Dilts, and everyone there has achieved. All the heart and drive that you put into your shows are just definitely something I align myself with when it comes to like how I like to present my garments, who I like to present to, and then just like the caliber of like the expertise that you guys make sure that your shows are all about. It's just such a wonderful experience, and I ditto everyone on the other line that says how great Omaha is. Like, it's just so freaking great and wonderful, and it's so funny how I literally, just a quick story how I got involved. Like Brooke says, we met through Alyssa Dilts. And Alyssa and I met in Chicago when she would help me with my shows backstage when I literally was sewing girls and guys into pieces. And Alyssa's back there helping sew. And she called me one day and she's like, Borris, I've moved back to Omaha where I'm from, and we need a menswear designer. I heard that you're doing menswear. And I literally told her, I was like, why am I coming to Omaha? I had no idea how amazing that this organization was with Fashion Week. And she literally told me, she's like, I'm not going to quote exactly what she said because I don't know who's on the other line, but she was like, baby, you owe me, basically, is what she said. And you owe me, get your butt to Omaha. And I did. And from that moment, I fell in love with Omaha, and I've been back all the time. I mean, as often as I'm able to come back. It's just such a great experience, and it has helped me to develop my my brand. It has helped me to develop my character because of how embracive everyone from the team and the client that come to the shows are with me in my line. It's just such a wonderful, beautiful experience. So kudos to all of you guys there for what you do.
Thank you. And we love having you on our runway.
I tell you, I love being on your runway.
Awesome. Thanks, Borris. Okay, and last but not least is Alyssa Dilts. She's the Director of Development Model Management. She is also the Casting Director for Omaha Fashion Week, and she is celebrating 10 years in business with Development Model Management, which is a major milestone. So yay. Good job, Alyssa. That is, it's incredible. It really is. Most businesses don't last 3 years, and she's made it 10. So it's awesome. We're really, really excited for you. And it's great.
With the help of you. I mean, we were talking, so this Saturday is the 10-year anniversary of the very first casting I ever held. And so we're going to go grab a little glass of champagne because Brooke was standing beside me before we even worked together, before we came in. I sponsored Fashion Week. She stood beside me with three, including my mother, who's also on here. Mama Dilts is here, and stood beside me and supported me in this crazy journey of wanting to have my own business, and never looked back, and have never been so loved by the friendships that I made. It's funny, a few of the things, I won't go into my whole story because it would take us 10 years for me to tell it, but picking up on a few things that they all have said here. Borris, I mean, I look back at our friendship starting all those years, and of course it's like leveraging, okay, I did this favor for you, you better bring it here for me, when we needed someone to grace the runway and have a special guest. And that is you, Borris. You are so special. You bring so much to so many people's lives, and not only in your designs and your creativity, but the positivity that you bring to our community. And it's just a party and an excitement and a love that happens. And I remember when we were in Parker last year, and you and I sat at a table outside of the pool. No one was around us. It was like we had just gotten coffee or something, and we were sharing some hardships in our lives that were happening at that moment. And those are the moments that I love about this community. Yes, we can all be positive, but there's hard stuff that we go through too. But through those positive relationships that we built with all of these people, Brooke says we lose years. I don't know what year it is and how many years I've been working with all of you, because there's such a culture of truly caring and truly believing in what we're all working towards. And that's my favorite thing, that we can find those friendships woven through business. And that's how I like to conduct my business, and why I'm proud to be a part of this entire community. You know, it's also even thinking back to the tents that have given us all trauma. Just so you know,
post-traumatic stress.
And you can thank me for that, because I took my dear friend Brooke Hudson to Chicago Fashion Week. I'm like, we're gonna have an amazing weekend. I have this great thing planned for us. You can see what Chicago Fashion Week is like. And we were taking pictures and video. We had the greatest evening. And then we came back and she sat down and, drew it out on like CAD or Photoshop or whatever, one of those programs. And okay, we're going to do this. Good ideas.
So great.
But we're so grateful as a community that you and Nick have taken it now to the Omaha Design Center, and that we have a home and creating a safe space for everyone. So thank you, Brooke, for you guys creating this entire community for us and for us being a part of it.
We enjoy it, and we get so much joy out of the fact that so many others enjoy it. And I just, we have all these great friendships on the panel, but I just want to say to everybody that's tuning in right now, there's a place for you as well. And there's friendships for you to be had within our community. So this is a place for everybody, and we encourage you all to get involved, and you're going to learn about how to do that tonight. So with that, Alyssa, I think you have a special video you want to show, right?
Yes, absolutely. So this is a video. Something happened to one of our models here at Develop Model Management, and it was very distressing. She experienced some very aggressive bullying on text, and it went to just a really dark place really quickly. And Brooke and I were very, very bothered by this when we heard about it. And so we called up Heather and said, what can we do, Heather? We've got to do something. Can you help us? And so we decided to gather some of our veteran models to come in and have a chat and discussion about bullying that they have experienced in their careers, in their lifetime, and just in general. And so this is a result of that day that we spent together. So we'd like to start and share this with you. One of our models received this text.
My first reaction thinks that that's really hard to hear. It's so hurtful that they're doing that and, hiding behind the screen. She had to hear that and she wanted to accept it, and then to reply in that manner is just unacceptable. It's not okay. And especially this form of bullying when it comes to body image, I think is so harmful. We already have to build up a thick skin to accept that criticism from the clients that we're working with, that for this person to target this model and say such hurtful things about their body, it would destroy me. It would destroy everything that I've works for. And I think that's absolutely awful to target models in that sense of body image. I can't believe someone would do that. The Develop family is such a great resource. This agency, it's just so apparent how much everybody cares about each other, and that we all will go out on a limb to help any of our fellow models. We all have been through it, and we all have, you know, different experiences and have advice on how we personally handled those experiences. And we all just really want to be there and support each other because we truly are a family. I think it's important to know that you have so many more people that love you than the people that hate you or may speak poorly about you. So it's important to just be vulnerable and talk to people that do love you so you get it off your chest and build your confidence back up. Knowing too that like when someone is bullying you, it's a reflection of them and not you. It's really important to learn that again.
I have little nieces right now. One of them is 13 and she just started middle school. And what I tell her, like, if you're experiencing bullying in school, social media, wherever it is, you know, talk to your parents, talk to me. I always want them to come up to me and tell me exactly what they're going through, because you need to talk about it. And you can always stand up and talk about it.
So thank you again to Heather Hooton for creating that for us, and the models that participated, as well as my dear friend Brooke Hudson for coming together and saying, what can we do? I think the takeaway again, I went into that conversation not knowing what to do, not knowing and having the answers. As myself, you know, I'm nearly 40 years old. I've been in this business for over 20 plus years. And I deal with it. I get nasty, nasty messages and things that people say to me. And I have to just hold my shoulders up and act like no one ever said it to me and keep it moving, because I can't react. You know, I have to be a, you know, kind of like a pillar of strength and make sure that I'm moving forward with everything. But it hurts. It sucks. It's terrible. So that day was so meaningful and so special to me, because what came out of it was so clear, as Heather had written there, and that it's like, you're going to do it from the beginning of time. There's been bullying till the end of our days. We're never going to cure bullying. We're never going to cure negative thoughts or opinions of people, especially how social media is. Everyone has an opinion that apparently think we all need to know their opinion this day and age. And it's like, we can't stop that. But what we can do is change how we react to things, and always, always listen to the hype in our lives and the positive voices in our lives, and try not to stay in the, you know, negativity. And I felt like that was so cool that day, to feel that love and know that there's so many people that support you, and you can share stories. Don't be afraid. I think so much we have to be so strong. We can't share stories. I was having a conversation with someone today about that, and it's like, it's okay to say today was a bad day and it sucked and I hated it and I didn't like how I felt, but you can't stay there. You've got to go on to the next thing. And I think the easiest way that I do that is by calling my best friend Brooke and saying, like, today sucked. This was terrible. What do you got going on? And she says the same thing back to me. And that's what community is to me, and how we can support and lean on each other with similar stories. And so I wanted to share that with you. We wanted to, the Omaha Fashion Week team, you know, we all feel like it's really important, because I feel like everyone in our panel, I've had personal conversations with almost everyone, know you guys really well, and you've all experienced something. And I think it's a great thing to bring up in this day and age when we're talking about just how we navigate this world, and being creative and excited about things, and being okay with sharing all of our amazing art and creations, and someone's going to have an opinion about it, and how do we navigate that? And I think that's a big topic of conversation. So
I did just want to echo what you were saying, Alyssa, because when I learned about the situation, everything, I just felt really heavy. I knew that she felt terrible and I didn't know how to help. And it really wasn't until we all got together that morning and listened to the models talk about it. There was like, this is what you do. You just come together as a community. And they knew that. And walking away from that, I felt better. I hope that it helped the person that we were hoping to help, but it really was beautiful and inspiring to see all of these young models. They knew the answer. It was community. And at the time I wasn't sure. I wanted to do something. And then to hear it from them, I'm like, you're right. Like, this is just coming together and knowing that we've all gone through this, and it sucks, but yeah, when you come together, you can get through it.
Yeah, you got to stand in the light.
We have a guest that just knocked on the door. Chris from Parker Fashion Week is here. So I'm going to.
Oh, how great. Okay. Anyway, cool. So do any of our other panelists have any reactions to that video or thoughts on things that they've experienced with bullies?
I'll go. So yeah. I have not only seen tons of bullying growing up, I have gone through it myself. I still go through it. Social media today, like Alyssa said, it's like, what are you going to do? People have opinions, they voice them, and sometimes they're not the kindest and they're not the greatest, and they don't come from like their heart. It comes from pain and trauma. I'm trying to remember who said that it's a reflection of the person saying it and not you. And like, that is everything right there. A lot of things are said out of pain and trauma, and there's just, you have to stay strong and stay firm in your belief and know your worth and know that you are, I'm gonna cry. Sorry, I wrote notes even, like now I'm starting to get flustered. Know your worth and know that you're beautiful and you're perfect just the way you are. You're amazing just the way you are, and be kind to yourself and say affirmations daily. And no matter what the outside world says or thinks of you, what matters most is what you think of you. And if, let's say, like I had a problem with self-worth for my childhood. And so it was something that I had to grow and something that I had to like flourish in. And it all starts within you. I'm going to stop there because I'll cry.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rose. Those are such great words of advice. As you were talking, one of the things I was thinking about is, you guys are at the top of your game. You're doing amazing things. And I'm guessing a lot of what you're doing is like this long held dream that you've had, that you've worked towards. Along the way, did anybody ever tell you, you can't do that, or that's really dumb? Why are you doing that? Or you'll never be successful in this? And if so, how did you overcome that? Because you guys are, it's Nebraska and you're doing fashion in Nebraska. That's crazy. How did you overcome the naysayers?
That is actually something I think about very regularly, because when we started doing photography, we had a group of friends. One guy in particular just kept telling us over and over again, you're never going to make money doing fashion. Give up. That's never going to happen. And proving him wrong was like a really great motivation because I really thought that I could. And, that gave me a little extra kick probably. But I think there was a level of, well, he thinks it can't happen. Well, I'm going to help build a community where it can happen. I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep supporting. What do fashion designers need to be able to do their craft and have people buy their designs, and then they can hire me to do a shoot, or we can do a shoot together. Like, what can I do to help build that community? And then, you can't listen when people tell you no, you can find a way.
I can attest to that too. I had even in college, I had professors who were like, oh, you can't do this if you do this. I was never going to get a job if I didn't do national campaigns or work with big brands. You're never going to pay your bills. And I think that's kind of the age old thing when it comes to any creative work is, oh, you'll never be able to make a living or kind of have the lifestyle that you want. And I think the biggest thing that I did was just say, you know what, I'm confident in who I am, and I know what I want to do. And I know that if I put my head down and work for it, it's possible. And I think that's how I have always been when it came to any sort of bullying too, is that like, you know, it's still going to hurt when someone says mean things about you, but it hurts a little bit less when you know you're confident in who you are and you're doing what you want to be doing, and you can kind of just say, oh, well, I'm doing me, and that's kind of it.
Any other thoughts on that topic? Borris. Let's see. Unmute, bud.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yep.
Okay, awesome. I would like to piggyback on all of this here. I would like to tell every single person that's on this amazing Zoom call here that what you have to do is 100% believe in yourself. If you cannot believe in yourself and what your mission is, we all need to find what our mission is, then you will never have any sort of like ground to sustain all of this negativity that's going on in the world and what people are going to project on you because of what they're going through. And it is always about them and not you. So you control your own destiny. And one of these songs that I would encourage all of us to go out and listen to is by Kelly Rowland. And I can't remember the song title, but the lyrics is like, let your haters be your motivators. So everyone that's going to hate on you, turn it into a motivation to make you push even harder to get to your dream and your destination, because we all have a purpose. No one else knows your purpose but yourself. And when you go out to achieve your purpose with every single ounce of determination in your body, it will happen. And you are hearing this from a guy that was told no from the very beginning. My mother told me no, that I cannot be the feminine guy that likes to dress women in clothing, playing her suits from the very beginning. My mother told me no, that I had a feminine walk, that I could not go out of her house walking like a female. And I had to turn back and walk like a man until she was happy. My teachers in school told me that I could not take home ec because boys were not allowed to take home ec in Alabama, where I grew up. I got into music and I wasn't able to play the instrument that I wanted to play. There's another no. And then when I came to Chicago and I found myself when it came to like the arts of fashion, I had people telling me no in the very beginning. I had a friend that worked at a certain bar when I was first starting out, and he was going to help me get my first showing inside this bar. And I got an interview with the club owner, and she told me, well, she didn't tell me anything. She said, oh, we'll be in contact. And then she told my friend as soon as I walked out, she's like, he will never show in here. Did you see the kind of clothes that he designed? They're just not good enough. And this is a bar. We're not talking about the Hyatt or the Ritz-Carlton. This was a bar. And she told me no from the beginning. And then one of the biggest no's that I got was from someone that was over a fashion community in Chicago years ago. And someone was raving about me that was a friend, was like, you need to give this boy a chance, give this guy a chance. He's going to be so big one day. And the lady was like, well, we'll keep our eye on him. We'll keep our eye on him. And let me tell you, just yesterday, I got off the phone with this exact same person that's helping me write grants for my program and everything else. And since then, I have shown all over the world, in London Fashion Week, Omaha consistently. I've gone everywhere and shown because I believed in myself, and I motivated myself through everyone else that was hating where I was as an artist at the time. So if I would have given up years ago from the very beginning, when people told me no, including my family, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, and I would not be on this call with all you wonderful, talented people today. So all I'm going to say once again as I end this is that you have to believe in yourself in order to get to your destination. You have to know your destination to believe in yourself.
Woo! Preach! That's good. Of course, it's awesome. It's a great story. I love you. So you mentioned something about purpose. And I would like to hear from some of the other panelists about how did you find your purpose? Because that's essential in order to, like you said, have that firm foundation to stand against people who tell you no. You got to have your purpose. Yeah. How do you find it?
And are you asking some of the other panelists?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can jump in here and you can go. Go ahead, Borris.
um, it has taken me a while to find my purpose, even though I walk within my purpose my whole entire life. 47 years old, I've been walking within my purpose, but now I'm just starting to understand what my purpose is, and I'm understanding that I'm worthy of my purpose, and that I'm ready to walk within those shoes. And I think that through our life, we will come to know different purposes. And I think as long as we stay in the game and stay within the purpose that we're living in the moment, it's going to lead us to our next purpose. Years ago, I thought my only purpose was to dress women. And I didn't want to be called a fashion designer. I wanted to be called a dressmaker because I wasn't making anything but dresses at the time. And that was my purpose in the moment. Then that purpose led me to dressing both men and women. And I enjoyed that purpose once I started to embrace where I was in the moment. And now my purpose has led me to something completely different where, you know what, I'm more of a performing artist but I'm still living within what brought me to this stage, which is fashion. I will never give up dressing women, dressing men, but now I do it on a different level. And I'm incorporating another purpose that saved my life twice, which is music. And I'm not quite sure who's on the panel that may have known this story, but music is my number one inspiration, and it saved me from destruction twice now, destruction, devastation, suicide, and all this other jazz. So I incorporate that into what I do now because it's my new purpose, and it combines my art as an artist, as a fashion designer, but it combines my love as music, and it's now giving me a stage to save myself and really walk within my true purpose, which has always been an art. So I think when you ask Brooke, how do you find your purpose? You already know what your purpose is. I think we just sometimes we shine ourselves from living within that purpose because we're scared. We're told from a very, very early age when we're kids that you can do anything that you want in your life until you become an adult. And then they say, no, you can't do that. You need to go to school to become a pharmacist or teacher or things that's going to give you a solid foundation of money. But that is the root of all evil, which is money. When you find your true purpose, money does not matter. You're going to do whatever you can to continue on with your goals and your purpose and what you love. And when you start to do things that you love, it is going to shine no matter who comes to you with any negativity. And like Alyssa says, like, I'm such a positive person when I'm on the stage and when I'm off the stage. And that's because I have found my purpose and I do not care what anyone else says. I'm going to walk within those shoes of my purpose.
Borris, I could listen to you talk all day. I swear to God. We need to sign up for Borris to be a motivational speaker. Every time you share your story, I've like learned something new, or I myself am inspired. But this is what community is, right? We re-inspire all of ourselves, all of you, hopefully. And it's just incredible to listen to you speak with your purpose and your passion. Thank you.
I love you so much. I love you. And I tell you, Alyssa, you know, we've known each other almost 20 years, if not 20 years. And you have always believed in me when I probably didn't even know myself. And then you brought me to Omaha to introduce me to Brooke, Nick, and this family that saw something on stage and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I knew my purpose, but I didn't know how to live within my purpose. So within your community and your love, it allowed me to shine to get me to that next level where I would walk into my purpose. So it takes a community, and it takes so much love from the ones that love you more than you can love yourself. And if we can continue to do that for everyone that we're around, I tell you, we will have an army of soldiers walking within their purpose, and we will eventually turn this world around to where it needs to be.
Love it. So you need to find your purpose and you need to find your people.
Yes.
Yes.
And walk within your purpose.
Walk within your purpose. Now, do any other panelists have any thoughts on how you go about finding your purpose?
Yeah, I want to add to that for sure. Borris, first, I just want to say, now I understand why you allow me to source your music every year for Fashion Week. So with that story being learned, I just want to say thank you for trusting me. I didn't know music was your number one like that. That's great.
Absolutely.
But Borris is right. Like, purpose is an evolutionary thing. And I think that purpose changes when you're very young and as you grow. I'm a Gemini, so I feel like what I believe my purpose is changes very, very frequently. Where when I was younger, I thought I could be a healer, and that grew in various stages of trying to be a teacher and then a student and then just wherever I was going. But as long as you just hold a general idea of what you love doing in life, like not speaking in terms of what your art is or what your medium is or what your job is. It's like how if you love people or if you love nature or if you love just trying to be a better person, those things will lead you down a path to help you find whatever purpose you have in that time, because our situations always change very drastically, and along with that we have to be able to be trained and skilled enough to hold these different purposes as we go through life. So if I find out tomorrow I'm going to be a father, I know my purpose in life has changed. It's going to be raising this youth. I know that if I win a Grammy next month, I probably will change, like my purpose of life will change to becoming somebody who now can heal on the worldwide masses. It's always going to change however you navigate, but just got to keep the same fundamentals together, and that is to push forward to whatever you're trying to accomplish. Like, the going back to saying no and being told no. I think all of us in this room tell ourselves no than we probably hear from other people, right? Like, that's a thing, right? We all sit around and we think, I should do this. Nah, I can't do this. And that is a very self-taught mechanism. And that has a huge weight, and it kind of can destroy your purpose at the same time. So, fighting all those things as well as trying to find your balance is like the most key thing to try to focus on. And then your purpose will come down, shining down on you like light from the heavens. And then you'll be straight. You're like, all right, cool. I get it now. This is what I have to do. So, Borris, nice knowledge dart, man.
Absolutely, Keith. I love you, man. And because you do what you do so well, I never have to worry about how my energy through my clothes, my story is going to come across when you and I collab. All I have to do sometimes is just give you a quick, this is what I mean. And I walk away because I trust you to do what you need to do because you're living within your purpose. If you didn't understand your purpose and you were not so keen on your game and love what you did, then I would have to come in and be like, this is what I want and control you. But I don't have to control you because you're so good at your job and you know what's going on and you know how to read the room. When you read the room, like I can't read that room like you read your room. So I was like, you know what? You live in your purpose and you do your game and I'm going to shine. So I want to commend you for finding your lane and then driving in it with with so much love, and it shows. So thank you for making me not have to think about what I want the music to sound like when I'm in Omaha. You take that burden off of my shoulders, and I trust you 100%.
Respect. Can't wait for the season.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, if anyone out there has questions that they want to ask the panel, feel free to drop those in the chat or just interrupt us. Oh, here's one from Paris Brooks. Let's see. She says, thank you for sharing your stories. How do you overcome obstacles created by people who are actively trying to keep you from your goals?
I can go on this one. This is a book that I recommend everybody should read, and I'm only telling you to read this for one reason and one reason only. It's called 48 Laws of Power. It's written by a guy named Robert Greene. It's actually a very terrible book. It's not something that I recommend you use as a weapon, but you actually will learn how people weaponize things against you. And these 48 laws of power they're all attributed to different historical happenings that have happened throughout human history, and they all deal with humans trying to achieve power over other humans. And once I read that book, I really learned about people's behavior. It was almost like psychology, where people like unknowingly or sometimes knowingly will try to create a very harder path for you to go down because they know they can keep you in that shell or keep you behind the wall or whatever they're trying to do. But when I read that book, I learned how to evade those obstacles or go through them or figure out what maze they're trying to build, or sometimes cheat and just mow the whole thing down and like, you know, figure out how to evade their power. But generally, like, you just, it's always a kind of a game of chess when people are trying to put obstacles in your way. You just have to learn what steps they're trying to take to create a harder situation for you. And sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's a challenge to see how hard you're willing to go for them or the project or whatever it may be. Or sometimes they're trying to keep you from getting the position that you deserve. So really, it's just about trying to figure out what the moves are and how to overcome and win the game of chess that you're being played. So those things, if you could take those steps, read that book, you'll come out realizing like, okay, you know, I have a better idea on how manipulation could control your decision making and how to wake up every day knowing that like nobody can stop you on anything you're trying to do, like not at all. So
absolutely,
check it out.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, the manipulation, that is the key word, right? And who we're surrounding ourselves with. You know, we have control to an extent, especially in adulthood, of who we surround ourselves with. And I think this is a perfect example of trying to find those people. You know, I think the word hasn't been weaponized necessarily, but it's been very much put down, which is nice. So I've been trying to change the narrative of that and saying, be kind instead of be nice, because people keep saying, oh, don't want to be nice. There's no substance to that. I personally still think there's a lot of substance to being nice, but I'll change it to kind to appease everyone, right? That's what we do. We've got to change and move and fit within social norms. But I think there's something to be said about removing yourself from situations, whether it be responding to comments online, responding to family that doesn't support you, your friend group that doesn't support you. If they come at you negative, cool, sorry you're having a bad day. I'm gonna go over here with my friend Borris. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call my best friend Brooke. I'm gonna hit up my mom and be like, this sucks. I'm having a bad day. Let me live in the light of these people that support me, versus this negativity and manipulation that I think people truly just have it out for people that are doing well or trying to live in that purpose that Borris is talking about, you know, because maybe they haven't found their own, you know, and we can have empathy for that. But I think we try to be authentic and who we are every day. And that's what we have control over. We don't have control over what other people's reactions are. And so if we're genuine to what our purpose is, finding that purpose, and also giving ourselves grace if that purpose changes. It's okay if you know, said, wow, I want to own a NFL football league one day, and cool, that was your goal and you're working really hard and a lot of people are supporting you towards that goal. And the next day you say, gosh, no, now I've changed my mind and I want to go be a doctor. You know, that's okay to do those things and change your mind, especially in the creative field. You might get inspired by something else, just like Borris was talking about, from women's wear and being a dressmaker to a full-fledged designer and creating menswear and bags and the whole look and the performance. And it's a brand that you embrace and you become Borris Powell. Like that's a thing that he's created. But it took him years to get there. You know, I think we have to just be more kind to ourselves and tune out the others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Borris. Yeah.
And you know what? I 100% agree with all that you're saying. And as an adult, you have 100% control of the naysayers and how they're going to affect you. You can 100% walk away from anything that you do not want to hear and deal with. And if it's all negativity, I challenge every single person on this panel, and maybe introduce this challenge to other people in your lives as well, is that every single time that someone, and especially on social media, comes at you with a negative thought or comment, do not react. I never react to anything negative on social media. I will get off of it. I will not embrace negativity in my life. There's no time for me to harbor any negativity that's coming from someone else. I'm too busy I'm too busy trying to save the world one smile, one dress at a time. So I challenge every single one of you, do not respond. And if it's your friends that are continuing telling you that you cannot achieve this, you cannot do this, you cannot find and live within your purpose, find a new friend. It's not worth it, and it's too important for you to find your purpose. You have a bigger calling in life than you really realize, and you'll never find that calling if you're living within the negativity of everyone else around you. I don't care who it is. When I'm on the phone with my mom and she starts talking negative, I tell her that, you know what, today is a positive day for me. I will call you on another day when you can be negative, or when you can be positive, or you call me back when you can be positive. I don't care who it is. If they don't have anything positive to say, I will not entertain it. There's no time and there's no room. I encourage every single one of you here, when there's someone that's going to come to you with negativity on social media, get off of it. Say thank you, have a great day, and do not go beyond that. That's all they need and deserve is a thank you, have a great day, and move on to the next.
Yeah. I have to admit, I've been bullied as an adult, just like the rest of you have. And there's been once or twice where I have responded. It did not go well. It did not go well.
I always call back and I'm like, bro, put down the keyboard, don't respond. You're talking to people that don't make sense. Just walk away from the keyboard. She always calls me. I'm like, Rookie, why?
Don't be like me. But anyway, okay, so I'm just like being honest. There was a couple of times where I responded. It didn't go well. But now my husband and my friends have all advised me, Alyssa, and when people, they still continue to bully and say things that are rude. And now I don't even say, thank you, have a nice day. I just let it sit there for the rest of the world to see. I let them sit in it. Just sit in it and enjoy that. You look like an idiot.
You're not going to change them. You're not going to change them. You're not going to change their mind. You already have an opinion. Why? Even if you gave your resume and proved every point of what they're saying wrong, why on social media? Yeah. Especially in your case, a few times it's with much people that have nothing to do with our community and have an outside look in, and it's like, just go.
And you can't reason with crazy. You can't reason with crazy. So just let them sit in it, move along, find new friends.
I agree.
Okay.
I do. The question, can I say something real quick about imposter syndrome? And I think that's the exact same thing, maybe, well, Claire's point here in the chat. I have to tell you guys, I deal with this myself. I mean, there are times when I doubt myself and doubt everything I do. I think I am terrible at everything I do. And I think that, what mistakes I made and what I should have done instead. I think that's human nature, and we have to give ourselves grace. And I was talking to a model today. She's in LA. She had she moved there on January 17th, worked or had a casting every day until about a week and a half ago. It's just kind of dried up and things have been stale. And she texted me and I could feel it was off. And so I FaceTimed her and I was like, hey girl, what's going on? And she's just bawling uncontrollably and feeling really low and sharing different things with me that are particular to models themselves. And it was so relatable. I think we all go there. And why is that bad? We can have bad days, but you just can't have multiple bad days or multiple bad years. Like, you have to find it and live in your purpose and say, okay, I'm going to have that cry. I'm going to have that moment to myself and I've got to move on. And is that easy? No, it's terrible. It's awful. I have friends that can never get out of it. I have people in my life that just live in that misery, and I just make the choice not to. And we have to find outlets like this. I mean, I do think someone said therapy session. Hello, right? I've gained something from all of this, and sharing, knowing that you're not alone and reaching out. I mean, the Fashion Arts Collective that where Heather's at right now, and I sit on the board, and Brooke and Nick Hudson founded it. It's one of those things, like exactly what we're trying to do for our designers of let's sit around a table and talk and have pizza and like, do anything. And creatives like Rose could be there, or Keith, like we're all part of the fashion community. It's not just for designers, and I get something out of it in the support. And I think we just have to, like I said, it sucks. It's hard. I hate when motivational speakers sit there and say, it's easy and just do this, and this is what you have to do, and stay positive. It's like, no, there's really crappy days that aren't fun, but you've got to have the gumption to know, okay, but that's not how I'm going to live my life, and I've got to move forward past it.
I totally agree with that, Alyssa. I think the biggest thing is like finding your cheerleaders in life is like the people that like when you are having a bad day, they like, you can call them and they're like, no, you're really good at your job, or like you do all these really great things, you're a good friend, things like that, that maybe don't have to do with work that they can remind you about, or things like that that are really important still.
Yeah, I have to regularly remind myself often, my husband, people around me, that you know a lot more than you think you know. I think that when you, especially, I think in any industry, but in the creative industry, I feel like there's always a fear that like, I'm not doing it how other people do it. Like maybe someone else does photo shoots totally different than me and I'm doing it wrong, but I can't go on those big photo shoots to find out. And so you just start freaking out and you think, maybe I don't know all these things. And then you remember, no, I've spent a bunch of time learning so much stuff. Like I have a bunch of knowledge in here. And sometimes you need someone to remind you, like, no, like other people don't know like what an aperture is or whatever. There's so many facets to your job. I think it's very helpful to remind yourself, like every once in a while when you're feeling that imposter syndrome, just sit down and be like, okay, I know this, I have done this, I succeeded in all of these situations, I learned from all of these situations, and just reassure you, you do know what you're doing. I think the learning part is sorry. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say the learning is such a big, like no one knows everything. Like everyone's always learning, everyone's always growing, and that's what you have to be nice to yourself about that. Like someday you'll get there kind of thing.
I just want to quickly add on the self-worth thing really quick, because this speaks to me truly. A lot of the times, this is a therapist session from Rose Petty. Here you go. A lot of the times we are taught things over our lifespan, like childhood, child traumas, all these things, people, friends, just everything, bullies, like everything in our environment surrounding us is molding us and shaping us over time. And a lot of the times you're like, even as a child, you're taking in what other people are saying and you're hearing these things and then you're thinking these things and then they become your thoughts and your patterns. And the hugest thing to change your self-worth is to realize that these things are not true. They're the outside world. They are others' opinions, and you are beautiful and perfect and amazing and talented and wonderful, and you are gifted and you are uniquely you, and you are your person, and you need to like just breathe in the amazingness of you, if that makes sense. And it takes time and it takes practice, and affirmations for me have been super, super helpful. I am super big on growing your self-worth. And it's one day at a time. And sometimes you'll have bad days, and sometimes it'll be hard to love yourself. It'll hard to have that self-worth. And one last thing, the number one thing that helped me as a person is I could never take a compliment. If someone complimented me, I don't care what it was, I would always say, no, like, no, and I'd shoot it down. And now instead, if I can't accept the compliment, I just stay silent and smile, or I'll just say thank you. And that's the number one thing. You need to just take it in, take that compliment, and tell yourself like, yes, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I'm perfect the way I am. That's what I have to add.
Rose, accepting compliments is accepting love.
Yes.
Right? That's so important. So accept love. There's lots of people out there who want to love you. Accept the love.
Absolutely.
Okay, so somebody was asking, let's see, Claire asked about flipping it on, this whole conversation on its head, when you're your own bully and you feel like you're not living up to the expectations of others, how do you deal with that and keep your confidence up?
I can start on that.
Go for it, Borris.
Yeah, when you're your own self-bully, I would like to turn that around and say that all of us are our worst critics, right? And we've heard that. It's so cliche to say that, but it's so true. But it's okay to be your worst critic because it keeps you on top of your game. It keeps you motivated to get to the next level. And I've been wanting to say this on all the other different topics. So I'm going to utilize this moment to make it, to say it to all of us, is that we are all artists. Whether you are the business side of creating for the arts, or you are an artist with music, artists as fashion, artists as makeup, hair, we're all artists. And artists are the most insecure people on the planet. So just know that you are not in the boat alone, that we're all extremely insecure. And it's okay to be insecure if you utilize that in a positive way to just keep those butterflies where they need to be in your stomach. Was when you have butterflies, at least when I've danced, I've been a performer all my whole entire life. And when I go on stage and I get those butterflies, I know it's about to be a good show. When I didn't understand that was when I first started performing years, like over 20 years ago, and I would get terrified of those butterflies. But those butterflies are there to keep you in check and to keep you on your game. Because if you've got that little twinkle in your stomach, you're thinking about the next move, the next step, the next stitch, the next dance, the next pas de bourrée, the next note that's going to come out of your mouth. Everything you're thinking about it when you're on top of your game. And those butterflies keep you on top of your game. So just realize that we all are very insecure people. We're the most insecure people, but we're not alone. We're together in that insecurity. And it's okay to have those insecurities because we are not, well, we're not perfect. No one's perfect, right? No one knows everything. So just live within those insecurities and just let them motivate you at the end of the day. And just know that you're not going to always have perfect days, and it's okay not to have a perfect day. Just don't waddle in those imperfect days.
Awesome. I agree. I think that is such great advice, especially that whole idea of butterflies and that almost physical discomfort that you feel when you're insecure. That is just called being a human. And anybody who's performing or when you're in a creative career and you're putting something that is deeply held inside of you out for the world to see, the butterflies are there because you're performing. And rather than being afraid of them and freaked out about them, harness them and say, good, this is awesome. I'm alive right now and I'm performing. And these butterflies are just a part of that. And you're right. It keeps you on your toes for sure. It keeps you sharp. Okay. So here's another question. Therapy session. I am in a point in life where I feel like my passion for design is so great and school is now just something I have to do. I've had this constant battle of knowing what I want, but finding myself in a place where I'm always in school and working, earning a regular wage. I've grown bored and sad when I see myself now and my life now and how I just have no time for fun, no creative space. But I also feel as if I'm not qualified to be someone or something yet. It's this battle of what I want over what I have done to be better. So it's like a battle over the practical aspects of, earning a living, going to school and doing the things that you're supposed to do versus what's really in your heart and what you're really passionate about. Can anybody speak to that? And how do you get over that hump?
This one definitely got to me. Because I remember when I was like in my early 20s and I had a full-time job and I was trying to help build this company, as well as trying to be a DJ and a touring musician, like all at the same time. And I remember like hating everything. Like I didn't like my job. I didn't like playing other people's music. I didn't really enjoy these things. They just all felt like jobs to me. And I wanted to know why, because my journey in music, like I love music. I live and breathe this, but it's just, there's some aspects of it that were just frustrating. And I had to quickly learn that I need to be able to love the art and the craft of what I do. I need to find other realms of inspiration. And because when you work on your thing for so long, what medium it is, you tend to like kind of get dry creative spell, or it just doesn't, nothing hits. And so I started to plan moments where I would try to explore the world and not try to incorporate music into these things. I would go travel and I would just go to see art shows and art institutions that showcase like famous paintings, abstract art, or performance art. Or I found my way into Omaha Fashion Week because fashion is something I enjoy, and I know music is a part of it. But the what attracted to me it to me more was just, this is a whole different medium I know absolutely nothing about, and I can learn about what inspirations they take and what they do to create their art. And that in turn, that over a couple of years sparked that creativity in me to make and continue creating and continue to do these things that I love doing. And by the time, you get to that point where you like are working the job you want and everything, you have to kind of continue to do the same thing, because no matter where you're at, you're in school and you're working. And I understand that struggle, but school is temporary. Like it will end. There is an end point to that. And after that, you have this whole realm to go and explore, and this world to go make your oyster and go find the work that you want to do. But along with that, it's always good to try to diversify your interests and try to find other things that can continue that creative flow. But you will have dry spells, and I think that's okay. Like, I completely think that's fine. Like right now, when I go home, I'm listening to nothing but silence. Like, and I'm gonna read a book. Like, I'm gonna do these things that don't have anything to do with what I do every day. And it's good. It's good to like allow your brain to just focus on the work that you're doing, and then give your brain and your body times of rest and relaxation. And sometimes it's 3 months or 6 months. Sometimes it's a whole year. I remember one year I went a whole year without making any music. Like, I was working in the music industry, but I didn't write a single thing. And that was just because I was trying to absorb a lot of things and learn about a lot of things. And it definitely, the following year, I found that spark again, and I was just rolling continuously. So definitely try not to allow doubt to overshadow. This is just a time where it's going to be temporary as far as what you're doing, what your focus is on, but you have plenty of room to expand and grow. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. So it's kind of like we talked about embracing the butterflies. You're suggesting we embrace the dry spells and embrace those humdrum things that we have to do to live a life here on planet Earth. Is you kind of embrace those things and be at peace with them, and the creativity will come back.
Exactly. It always ebbs and flows. Like, creativity is one of the hardest things for humans to do. And there's been studies done with so many different creatives, like to look at like freestyle rappers, they understand their language way more than the average person. But even them, I've seen them come into the studio and have the worst time trying to write something that's compelling. They could write 1,000 words that rhyme, but none of it makes sense. And it's just because their brain isn't producing these ideas that they find amazing. And it's just a natural thing that happens with humans. And I think it's okay. It means you're in a time where you should be absorbing things and absorbing inspiration. And then when you have your time to express that inspiration, you'll know what it is. You'll get that butterfly feeling. You'll get the feeling of happiness, or everything makes sense at some point. It's just in our design. I truly believe that.
I do want to add, I think that especially right now, it is really, really hard to be creative with COVID, and it's winter and everything just feels like it's in turmoil. It has been really hard for me personally to just stay creative, like be inspired. Like, what am I being inspired by right now? So I do think giving yourself grace to just take a break and know that break is probably something that you need is really important. You go through times where you feel boring and sad and uninspired, and it sucks. But I think you be kind to yourself in that time, and yeah, give yourself the time to get through it.
I have a question for everybody. Like, what's one thing out of your skill set that you were able to apply to something else creatively during the last 2 years that had nothing to do with your passion or your job or your art? Like, think about it. Your entire skill set of everything you can do. If you can sew, like, maybe did you find yourself making masks for people all of a sudden? Get you something you've probably never done? Or have you wired your house with the electricity? Because that's kind of what I did, you know? I was like, oh, dang, I didn't know I could do this.
Yeah, instead of photo shoots, I planned a very elaborate garden. I was the way I organize a photo shoot. I was like, okay, I'm going to organize everything that I need to make this beautiful garden, and I'm going to tell a color story. I'm going to do all of these things. I just rerouted it.
Exactly. You know, your creative energy, even if it's a dry spell in your art form, like it always sparks up in other realms all the time, you know?
Yeah, mine during the pandemic was baking. And I was on the sour train before the pandemic hit. I just want to put that out there. I got my starter going in January of 2020, before everything shut down. So I was ahead of the curve. Anyway, but that, like, for me, Alyssa has heard me say this, when the world says no, the kitchen says yes. So when I'm finding myself being discouraged by something, or somebody's told me no, or that I can't do something, I just go bake some bread, and I remind myself that I can do something cool that tastes delicious, and I feel better about life. So you got to kind of find, I think, that thing. Maybe it's not the kitchen, maybe it's something else that you can always go back to and do to remind yourself that you're capable of doing good stuff.
I can't bake, so I need some baking lessons, first of all. And I cannot bake. But what I was going to say is, like, for me, I love art, right? Period. I love all art. I find your house can be a form of art, and like cleaning and organizing and making your space feel calm and breathable. And it helps you turn back on everything that's been turned off. Once you declutter and just clear and free your space, you clear your mind. And I do see someone says, how do you handle the dry spells when you're required to meet a deadline? I never know what to do, and I'm in that spot. So whenever I'm not making content, so I have an Instagram page and I make content. And so whenever I'm having my dry spell and I'm like, nothing is flowing to me, it's usually because the outside world is putting stresses into my mind and into my heart, and I'm allowing those things to enter my space. So what I like to do is be like, okay, everything is fine. Everything is just as it should be. And you speak these things to yourself. You calm yourself down. You try to focus on what is important at the moment. You live in the present moment, not in the future, not in the past. You live in the present moment. And also a thing that really, really helps me is I just started doing this again because I wasn't doing it for a bit, a guided meditation. On YouTube, if you look up guided meditation, and there's different things for like intention, for like purpose, all of these things, there's guided meditation. Some people are into it, some people aren't. If you are, try it. Guided meditation is amazing. That's what I have for that.
I can pick.
I do think. Oh, go ahead, Maddi. You go ahead.
I was going to say, I totally get that as well. I mean, when I do logos for clients, I give myself a whole week to do them because I know inevitably I'm just not going to, like, it's not going to flow out of me the way that I want to. And so a lot of times I will usually not end up getting it done till Friday. But if it's not, then I like go for a walk, or I talk with a friend and do something and walk away, because like at the end of the day, you could sit at your computer or sit at the drawing pad for hours on end, but like it's not going to just make it come out. Like you have to like go find something else to kind of like give you a break, because like staring at the paper for hours on end isn't going to solve the problem sometimes.
Yeah, stepping away is so important. Just step away from it, because if you just keep pushing, it's never going to come out.
Yeah. I think everything that we're all talking about, whether it's baking bread or guided meditation or taking a walk, all of that is like you're trying to bring down your conscious mind. You're trying to bring down that sense of self-consciousness that's blocking creativity and that sense of flow. It comes from your subconscious. And in order to reveal the subconscious, you have to lower the consciousness, which means getting out of, sorry, my dog's talking to us. Go quiet. Anyway, I'm reading this awesome book right now. It's called How to Do the Work. And it has reminded me of all of those lessons about getting into the flow and tapping into your subconsciousness and your creativity. And it's a great book. So I'd highly recommend that. But there is something about just getting outside of yourself and getting into the flow on something else will lead you back into where you need to meet those deadlines. Let's see. There's an insight. Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, somebody's asking what's the book again. It's called How to Do the Work. All right. I'm just looking to see what other questions are. Does anyone else have anything to add to that topic of how to meet a deadline when you're in a creative desert? Boris?
Yeah, there's also, I think, a part of that question, the initial question, and I don't know if we tapped on. The person that asked that question was like, well, I find myself there's too much to do. I don't have a social life. And how do I juggle like going to school and working and just trying to meet the bills and get those bills paid? There's only one way. You have to just realize how strong you are. We are built to go to the test. We are built to go to the end. So, I mean, we come out running. And just introduce yourself to the notion of like how the wild is. If you have to like figure out just how strong you are, or you need a reminder of how strong you are, go to like some of these like in the wild shows where you're looking at like the leopards, the tigers, and as silly as this may sound, it works. And it, like anything that's out in the wild, and you see how far they will go to get their next meal, to take care of their family, or whatever it might take to make it. And we're no different than all those animals in the wild, to be honest with you. The only thing is that we can actually speak, and we can make sense of things through verbiage. But that is a great lesson to understand how strong you are. And Brooke knows this, Alyssa knows this. Before I started full-time, I've been full-time almost 11 years, but before I started full-time, I worked a full-time job in management, and then I started my art and my craft. And I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. But what I did was I cut out every single thing that did not matter to get to the next level. I had to work to pay the bills while I went to this transition, and I had to create my art so that I can get to the point where I can go full-time. So I sacrificed everything else in my life. I'll sacrifice all of my friends. I sacrifice going out to the bars, which those two things are going to be there when you get to the other end of your purpose and your destination. So just be okay with sacrificing everything. And if you've ever met me, I'm one of the most social people out there in the world. And I cut all of that out for those years that I needed to focus on getting to the full-time status that I did. So you find your strength wherever you have to, and know that you are stronger than you realize. And you cut out everything that doesn't matter for a moment. And like Keith said, school is temporary. Your full-time job, when you're transitioning to do whatever you want to do, to make your art your full-time passion, is temporary. So cut out everything else until you get to that point. And it's possible because you're stronger than what you know.
Awesome. Thank you, Boris. Okay. So I think we've gone a half hour over time because this conversation has been so thought-provoking and inspiring. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add before we wrap things up? All right, great. Well, do you have something, Boris?
Oh, I was just going to say, I love you all, and I can't wait to see you next. That's all I was going to say.
We love you too. Oh gosh, we love you too. All of our panelists have done an amazing job tonight. I do want to remind everybody that designer applications are going to be opening on March 1st for the August season. So please check that out. We'll be posting that on social media soon. And then also we do have some OFW merch that has recently dropped. So we can find all that on social media as well. some really cute t-shirts and all kinds of other fun things. I think Brianna's dropping the links to those things in the chat right now. Okay, well, with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for all of your words of wisdom. And we hope to see you all soon alongside the runway in August.
Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the runway.
Yes, yes, the FAC the runway, yes. And join the Fashion Guild. It's fun if you want to be part of our community. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.